Thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Majority Caucus, and we are live on Joy News channel of your Multi TV. Once again, my name is Ali Dawood. Like I indicated in my introductory comment earlier, tonight we will be talking to you about job creation within the agric sector, to be specific, and with an extended discussion relating to other sectors as far as job creations are concerned. We are more than convinced on this platform that if it is about job creation, then the NDC government will place first in every account. But the important point to do is also to pinpoint to you where such jobs have been created. And tonight, our responsibility will be dwelled on doing just that. I have an honorable member in the studios to do this discussion with me. But before I introduce him, let me just tell you something small about the Commander Sugar Factory. The first one was established in 1963 by the Kwame Nkrumah's government. And as you know by now, after he was overthrown in 1966, it was collapsed. The reasons that informed such barbaric acts, I'm sure we've all read them in our history books. But what this government has sought to do is to create an entirely new Commander Sugar Factory, having in mind the yearning that people in the Cape Coast metropolis have indicated that they needed jobs, and across the country as well. And so an expanded viewpoint has been added towards the establishment, or if you like, the construction of this new Commander Sugar Factory. And so we are going to tell you all about it, the job opportunities that it has brought, because we have noticed that some presidential candidates or nominees are trying to make job creation as the catchphrase for their campaign, as to whether or not they have the competency to do that, and whether or not their record will speak to the effect of job creation. We will tell you all about it tonight. Tonight, I have been joined in the studio by Honorable Isaac Adongo. He is the MP candidate or parliamentary nominee for Bolga Central, and he's also a celebrated financial analyst. He's joined me in the studios to do justice to the topic at hand. Thank you very much, Honorable, for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Ali.
Honorable, in my introductory remark, you may have picked up one or two issues. We won't delve into whether or not the agric sector is performing badly due to some analysis that the MPP believes is right and for which they have put forward. We will come to that because it's not entirely true. I have noticed also that in the agric sector, part of the agric sector has been attached to other ministries. And so when you look at the growth rates in terms of performance in the agric sector, it is not entirely capturing the proper indicators so far as calculating the agric industry is concerned. But tonight, let's just take our minds back to Commander. The president brought the Commander Sugar Factory back, and he said that's not all. There are job opportunities. If you want job, Commander Sugar Factory is one of the places you need to look. I need your opinions on that, Honorable.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ali. And I want to say good afternoon to your cherished listeners, and particularly to my constituency, Bolga Central constituency.
That, I know they don't miss this program.
Yeah,
they told me.
This program, yes. I think Commander is just one example of the numerous interventions that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has executed. And for me, Commander is just a tiny bit of the entire package of interventions that he's put together. It just happens to be the latest in the series of interventions that he's put together. But that speaks a lot of volume about the kind of person that we have as our leader. The chief made it very clear that when in 2012 the president was there to campaign, he mentioned to him that he wanted a sugar factory, and he smiled and said, I will do it for you. I mean, he said it as if he was joking, but he already knew that that was a game changer.
He had intentions of doing that.
He knew that was a game changer. And so it was surprising to him that the people of Commander, and particularly the leadership or the traditional authorities, were thinking in tandem with the way he was thinking. And so when he smiled, they were not expecting anything to come out of it. In fact, others have come there and spoken volumes and delivered nothing. I mean, we've all had this golden age of business and all those slogans that died even before they started. And so His Excellency, being mindful of the fact that there was a need for sustainable jobs, in his first term, has set about looking at how to improve Ghana's competitiveness. And our competitiveness is about improving infrastructure. So he's placed infrastructure as a premium in trying to make sure that all these interventions are sustainable within the sphere of a competitive infrastructure environment. And we know a lot of work that he's done in that area. In the area of industry, we do know that one of the most important areas that he focused on was to ensure that in most of the areas that we're importing these products into our country and shipping jobs to other countries, we needed to begin to engage in import substitution and produce those goods ourselves. 2 years ago, you saw that he focused almost entirely on the pharmaceutical industries. And about 4 or 5 pharmaceutical companies were provided with over $40 million of grants to produce pharmaceutical products, to produce antiretrovirals, and to sustain that industry. And you would imagine the amount of jobs that are created already in the pharmaceutical industries. The people that are working in the factories, the people that are producing and selling across the entire distribution chain in our pharmaceutical, the pharmacy shops are all benefiting from the stock of these products that are produced locally. Beyond that, we are saving a lot of foreign exchange in order that we are not importing this product with the hard-earned foreign currency. And so it is not surprising that you notice that the city is beginning to see stability as a result of that. And so in the pharmaceutical industry, a lot has been done. And that's why I'm saying this is just one of the series. And here we're looking at $36 million. I'm saying just the pharmaceutical industry alone, almost $40 million was pumped to support these businesses. In the area of road construction, we are aware that we did have just about 6 companies that could engage in this asphalt plants, that had asphalt plants in Ghana. Just 6. And they were all foreign owned. Under his leadership, we now have 26, with 6 of them Ghanaian owned. Can you imagine?
That is unprecedented.
Can you imagine the percentage increase from 6 foreign owned to 20 Ghanaian owned with the 6 already existing? That is very, very massive. And it is not surprising that the road sector is seeing a massive improvement in terms of turnaround time and construction. And that is a vision that such a person has. And so you see the Commander Sugar Factory, which people are already running away from, as just a drop in the ocean, if you compare what I'm already saying. If you take, for instance, the Atuabo gas pipe plant, the most important significant contribution it makes to our economy is the fact that it provides an opportunity for us to have our own natural gas.
Indeed.
Today, we are talking about 150 million standard cubic feet of gas. When our total requirement is in the region of 350 million.
So we have it in excess.
So no, we still have a deficit. But what that means is that there is a genuine effort to provide
closing the gap.
To close the gap. And with the additional investment in the other gas fields, Ghana should be heading towards self-sufficiency in gas production in the next couple of years. Do you know the number of barbers that will not suffer to open their shops because they have energy? That is jobs. These are jobs.
Countless.
Do you know the number of fitting shops that will not struggle to open their shops? All these are going to be sustainable long term because Ghana will now have energy to supply, gas to supply our thermal plant. So that is a major boost. If you take the area of importation of shoes and second-hand clothing, the president took a first step to rehabilitate and to make sure that the Kumasi shoe factory was brought back to life. We do remember that he said he wanted that shoe factory to eventually serve the entire shoe requirement of our forces. So imagine that we don't have to import shoes for our police service, for our army, for our prisons, for our immigration services and the rest. That would be a lot of conservation of foreign currency. And that is what the man has done within a few years. And so with Commander Sugar Factory coming up, and what people are not seeing is that they see Commander Sugar Factory as a factory. But you are looking at conserving foreign exchange required to import 375,000 metric tons of sugar.
That's serious.
That amount of foreign currency, around $200 million, will no longer be required. and will be used to support the other imports, particularly the importation of capital goods to be able to produce goods and services and generate more and more jobs. Okay. So that is one. Two, some people were running at what do they call that place? Bojasi. You remember some time ago, they were running around Bojasi saying they are producing a starch factory.
Yes.
It died before they left office. I
remember the Presidential Special Initiative.
It died before they left office. In fact, one of their star players, who was touted in Ho as the reason why Voltaireans should vote for Akufo-Addo, was in charge of it. You remember that?
Indeed.
You remember Alan Tramantin was a star player.
Indeed, he was.
What happened?
He was a trade minister.
What happened?
It collapsed.
It collapsed before he left office.
Tenure even came to
an end. Your man went to Ho to tell the people that they should give the Ghanaian economy to him to collapse it before they leave office.
And that is very ridiculous.
But you are now looking at what is real growth and development, what is real intervention that will propel the growth of the economy. Within the enclave of the Commander area, a lot of chain activities are going to happen. There are going to be outgrower schemes to support large-scale commercial production.
Honorable,
of
I
sugar.
I need you to hold on there because I'm being informed that they have the footage for the commissioning of Commander. Okay, it will be ready within some few minutes. But let me give you some interesting statistics in terms of job creation under the government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. The Kumasi shoe factory that Honorable Adongo has just spoken about has employed as many in the excess of 200 people. The Savannah Cement Factory at Bupe has employed in the excess of 2,000 employees. Then the Ghana National Gas Company, Honorable Adongo has also expatiated on that extensively, also has employed over 265 persons. And then these following programs too have created some corresponding number of jobs. The youth in agriculture has employed over 23,000 persons in 2013, bringing the number of young farmers in the program to over 81,000. And the Free Zone Enclave also has employed over 16,000 persons between January 2013 and June 2015. I can go on and on and on. There's the Graduate Business Support Scheme run by the Ministry of Employment that also has seen the employment of over 2,000 persons. The rural enterprise is endless. I hope that time will be enough for us to go through them all. But Honorable, there is credible evidence to back the testimony of job creation under this government. I am under no illusion that this government really has performed creditably well, if you like, in a very amazing proportions. But there's still this seeming artificial confidence within the rank and file of the MPP that they, more than any other political party, have the wherewithal to create jobs. But I remember in 2001, if I'm not mistaken, I was one of those people in Ghana who went to register, queued, and actually registered to be employed. I didn't see anything.
They took advantage of, globally or in Africa, the African Development Bank reports that the youth between the ages of 15 to 24, about 200 million of them are without jobs. And annually we are adding 12 million additional unemployed who are coming out of school to the stock of unemployed in Africa. And in its own program to help address this problem, what they are even proposing as a major solution is a drop in the ocean. They are looking at delivering 50 million jobs in the next 5 years and an additional 25 million jobs. So that's closely 75 million jobs in the next 5 to 8 years. Africa Development Bank itself is supporting Africa to deliver. So if you look at the existing 200 million unemployed, plus an annual, say, 12 million, over 5 years, you're looking at an additional 60 million. They would have only been able to provide 75 million with 15 million still existing to add up to the 200 million. So in Africa, there's a major challenge of unemployment. The MPP, as usual, you can see signs of what they did in 2000. When they realized that people were unemployed, they came up trumpeting unemployment.
So they have no policy, they have no campaign message.
And then when they came, immediately they asked us to line up and register for 2 million jobs. That didn't exist. 2 million youth registered, no jobs.
I was one of them.
There were no clear-cut training programs, skills development to prepare these people for the job market. Nothing. You can't tell me one single...
But they said they brought the youth, National Youth Employment
National Youth Employment came in 2007. So if Kufuor had lost in 2004, what would have happened to the 2 million people that he registered? So he was fooling us.
And in fact, they were supposed to have remained unemployed till 2007.
2007. And even in 2007, in his own budget, the then Minister of Finance said that Kufuor was a listening government. MPP was a listening government. And that it was a farmer who wrote a letter to Kufuor to tell him that there was unemployment. And as a listening government, he was now going to solve that problem with youth employment program.
Inconsistency.
So the 2 million data that he had still didn't convince him that there was unemployment.
And his own campaign message that they are going to create jobs.
And he had 2 million. Still didn't convince him. In fact, he served his first term. He still didn't see the 2 million as unemployed. And I'm sure by the time that farmer was now angry and wrote a letter, we were now looking at some numbers that we cannot imagine.
Indeed.
So within 1 year, how could they have addressed unemployment? Today, that is their track record, deceit of the Ghanaian people. And they are now coming back again to tell us that they want to create jobs. What is your track record in job creation? Look, in industry, Ghana Telecom, one of our star performers, was diversified under Kufuor.
Indeed.
When they said the golden age of vision, you know what that meant? They then followed up to say that they were promoting property-owning democracy.
And yes.
And so government had no business in business.
Doing business.
That was a good excuse to sell everything Ghanaian.
Yes.
And so Ghana Telecom, I was also
surprised.
Ghana Telecom went for peanuts. I mean, a company that was valued at 1.5 billion, they sold it for 900 million.
I was doing my service in Parliament then. I remember 2007, 2008. And the agreement was approved somewhere close to midnight.
Yes. And in fact, it was Kufuor alone who negotiated that one. He asked all his ministers to leave. He negotiated it. And they are talking about blue something. He personally negotiated and said, Master, I have collected 900 million for Ghana.
That's all.
Forget about 1.5 billion. Okay? So $600 million lost in one transaction to Ghana. Westel disappeared into the hands of Zain. That is their record of promoting Ghanaian industry. Okay? The golden share, when Goldfields was being privatized, we all know that it was because there were serious issues of Goldfields having sold their gold reserves in advance in what we called hedging. And they were having challenges meeting margin calls on their hedge books. And their hedge books had a hole of about $200 million. They couldn't find the money. Government had no choice but to diversify it. And we still wanted to retain control of Goldfields. So we introduced a golden share. That golden share mandated Ghana to approve every single decision of AngloGold Ashanti. And made Ghana, even though the minority shareholder, the most powerful shareholder in AngloGold Ashanti. What happened? Kufuor sold it within a twinkle. And today we don't know what's happening. In fact, AngloGold is now even taking us to an international arbitration for withdrawing military personnel from their sites.
Such a trivia matter.
That is how MPP promotes industry under the golden age of business. The contrary to that is a conscious effort to revive everything Ghanaian under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So we see the shoe factory has come up. We have seen the Suchare, I mean the Commander Sugar Factory has come up. We have seen the shea butter factory Abupe has come up.
And then the Savannah Cement
we have
factory.
seen the Savannah Cement Factory has come up. We have seen the Atuabo Gas Pipe Plant has come up. We have seen Ghana Gas has come up. That is how you promote indigenous Ghanaian ownership of industry. Today, the telecom sector is the most powerful sector that drives growth.
Indeed.
What is Ghanaian involvement in the telecom sector? Nothing. And yet, this is the sector that is running our banks. Every bank wants to have any of them because you can see the amount of money that comes into the account. The amount of, anytime these telecom companies are looking for dollars, the city disappears. And yet, we had a golden one that should have been revived. It was sold. Another golden one in Westel was sold. And today, we are complaining about telecom sector that we should have taken it by the horn. Because we were there before the others came.
Indeed, and the declaration appears to have been just a smokescreen.
And that was done under the golden age of business.
That declaration was a smokescreen.
I don't know that what name we can give to it now.
Perhaps they had a different interpretation to it.
It was, and that golden age of business was synonymous with property grabbing democracy under the MPP. Today they tell us that because John Mahama is doing all these things, he's incompetent. Can you imagine that?
I'm sure Baumia
Now let me tell you what Baumia doesn't know. Baumia is following one of the most incompetent leaders Ghana has ever produced.
Tell me
and
more.
I can tell you that. In 2000, when MPP won power, we know that Akufo-Addo was seen in Ghana as the most decorative lawyer. In fact, the best lawyer Ghana could ever have. So straight away, he was shipped to Attorney General's department. Is that not it?
Indeed, it was.
What happened? Chachuchi Kata, after giving him blood face, Kofo had to sit in London to say that when he comes, he will overturn it. When he came, what happened? Afre and Co were loaded at the bench.
And indeed, the decision was
overturned. That was the most incompetent Attorney General we ever had in the history of
the president versus Chachuchi Kata.
In fact, in the end, Kofo realized that this man is not that competent. I have to take him somewhere. But you see, he is the heir apparent to the presidency of Ghana. You can't take him to tourism.
Okay.
You must find one of the decorated ministries, the most important ministry.
Which is befitting of his status.
Of his status as the heir apparent to the presidency of Ghana. So they took him to foreign affairs. But if you remember in foreign affairs, at that time, the most important foreign policy focus of Ghana, and particularly Africa and West Africa, was regional integration.
Indeed.
You remember that?
They even made it part of the foreign ministry.
Yes. Regional integration. And NEPAD, with all the peer review. Kofo sat carefully and said, hey, can this man handle all this?
Can you integrate us?
So he had to call Kofi Kunebra Preku. Say, Master, you know, regional integration and NEPAD is not easy. So I want to take it and give it to you. So that I can leave a small one.
Because he doubts Akufo-Addo's competence.
I will give a small one to Akufo-Addo. Okay? So that when Akufo-Addo go enjoy in London and UK, we will think that he's working, but he's enjoying. Apreku, this foreign policy in Ghana was managed by two ministries. The most confused foreign policy dimension we have ever had in Ghana. What Honorable Anatete is doing to perfection, how to be divided to suit the deficiencies of Akufo-Addo.
You mean even though Akufo-Addo could not manage the ministry?
He couldn't manage that big ministry.
Because of
so they have to cut it and give the most difficult part
to appease him.
Apreku, to become the Minister of Regional Integration and NEPAD. And then we had the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Can you imagine the level of incompetence that you can find in this man?
I think it's more than overwhelming. All right, well, I'll come back to you so the discussion continues on the competence. Of course, we cannot dismiss the element of competence when it comes to the ability of a leader to create jobs for his followers. We do have the footage now, I have been informed, and of what the president said specifically during the inauguration. And so we await patiently for the footage during the inauguration of the Commander Sugar Factory.
Those same attitudes that led to the collapse of the old factory, and this factory also collapses, we would lose employment, we would lose jobs, not only for the people working in the factory, but imagine the thousands of outgrowers who are going to be supplying this factory. Imagine the losses that they will make because this factory has shut down again. And I want to say that the catchment area for the outgrowers stretches as far as into the western region. Sugarcane can be produced from here to Kwesi and brought here to the factory for production. And the factory is paying for the transporting. They are paying the farmers some money to bring the sugarcane. And so it is a win-win both for the factory and also for the farmer. I want to appeal to the chiefs and the landowners to release lands to the young people who want to work and earn an income from sugarcane growing. We shall continue to count on you. This factory is for you. And I want Nananum of Commander and the people of Commander to keep a watchful eye on this factory so that it doesn't go the way the old factory went. Workers in this factory must be disciplined. We must have a sense of integrity. We must work in this factory as if it is our own property. We must not work in this factory as if it belongs to somebody else. The collapse of the old factory led to a loss of jobs.
Thanks for staying with us. There are some pieces of information perhaps I think I should share with viewers. The new Commander Sugar Factory has a workforce, or requires a workforce of over 7,300 persons. And this new factory also has the capacity to crush sugarcane and the quantity of over 1,250 metric tons, as you can see on the screens. The capacity to crush over 1,250 metric tons of sugarcane. Remember, 1,000, if my calculation is right, Honorable, 1,000 ton, 1 ton is equivalent to 10,000. Is it 10,000?
No, 1,000.
1,000. Okay, so you will do the maths yourself, and this also requires that we need 100-ton truck drivers, and of course there are trucks. So for each for the over 1,250 metric tons of sugarcane that will be crushed,
per day.
we need per day. This is per day, not per month or per week. Per day, we need 100-ton truck drivers, whose truck can drive tons of sugar canes. And with this 100-ton truck drivers, you need each of the truck driver or each of the truck to make 3 trips. So 100-ton truck drivers, each truck would make 3 of the trips. So each truck has a driver at least with a mate. So you do the calculation, and it does not require not less than 4 persons or 4 persons to crush or to cut the sugar cane into sizable portion for the machine to subsequently crush them. I'm giving you these statistics so you understand and appreciate that just the enclave of Commander Sugar Factory has a lot of job opportunities for the sugar cane to be chopped into pieces, for the trucks to load them, for the trucks to make 3 trips, and for the machine itself to crush over 1,250 metric tons of sugar cane. That should tell you something. And all this that I'm saying is per day. So when you multiply this by 30 days, the rest is as good as you can imagine. Don't forget, there's a byproduct from the processing of the sugar cane, which is called bagasse. I hope I got it right, bagasse. And this bagasse, my information is that it can be used to produce electricity.
Through ethanol. Yes,
through ethanol. Ethanol is an organic, is it organic alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Yes, alcohol. An organic alcohol. For those of you who did organic chemistry, I'm sure you will bear with me. Ethanol, I mean, it has 2 carbon compounds. Yeah, or 3. Well, so this is where we are. And the capacity of the ethanol to produce electricity is in the excess of 3 megawatts. This is no small electricity that has been produced. 3 megawatts, and the company only requires 1.5 out of the 3 megawatts, 1.5. So the rest of the 1.5 is added to the national grid. And mind you, the 1.5 alone can power the whole enclave of where where the sugar factory is located, and within its environs will stretch all the way to Kwesimintim, as the president indicated. So this is some serious job going on there in Commander, not just the sugar factory, not just the job. Electricity is even being produced, and amongst many other products that come as a result of the chain of production that takes place there. And so I would want you to take that factory seriously. The president had in mind, as Honorable Adongo indicated, when he was campaigning. He did make the promise and he delivered. and that this is a government worth celebrating. But, Honorable, in spite of all this, we are still being told, I don't know if we are being persuaded, because I don't see any persuasion. I see that we are being forced to swallow a bitter pill called the MPP promises, that this government lacks the competence. And to me, I think competence is inextricably linked with leadership quality, your ability to deliver, largely basis on your competence. Honorable, I need you to expatiate on that.
Yes, I've made it very clear that the competence of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has been clearly demonstrated, particularly when you come to the vast contrast between his understanding of how industry should be supported and how the MPP understands industry should be disbanded and shared among the people.
Yes.
So that is already clear. And I've also made it clear that you are going into a contest with two people. One of them, just as a Minister of Attorney General, a Minister of Justice, failed woefully. Moved to Foreign Affairs, they had to even break the ministry into two in order to accommodate his incompetence. Even still, 40 Ghanaians died in the Gambia, and he had no clue how to deal with it.
It has to take the
That is the level of incompetence. But let us come down to the incompetence of the MPP that they are running away from, and for which they've started tagging NDC in order that we don't go there. In the transport sector, a very small ministry, okay? His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is running the transport sector with one ministry and doing a phenomenal job.
Indeed.
Under the MPP, the most incompetent government we ever had. They had the Ministry of Aviation.
Yes.
Under Madam Elizabeth Ohene. She could not even promote an airline with the whole ministry.
Yeah,
Ghana International Airline died even before she left office. And today, the last flight is one of the boutique restaurants that you find in front of the Manila Mall. Okay?
Yeah, it's
with the whole ministry. Minister of Aviation. A Minister of Aviation. In fact, today, if you look at what is happening in the aviation sector, with what even the airport transport, the transport company is doing already, okay, using its own resources and capacity to expand the terminals. We are constructing a new terminal worth close to $250 million, still under just one ministry. The Tamale International Airport, by God's grace, in August, will fly pilgrims directly from Tamale to Jeddah.
Indeed.
I wish Baumia had not gone to Mecca yet. He would have been flown directly from Tamale to Jeddah.
But this is a project he condemns anyway.
And that is just under one ministry. They had another ministry. Ministry of Railways, Port and Harbors. And they were told that they were going to construct a railway line right from Tema to, what is the name? Bolga and to Burkina Faso.
Yes, to connect other West African countries.
What happened? Professor Amir Kunfi sat there for 8 years. What happened to that railway, Ports and Harbors?
I think he bought coaches. Did you?
And
the
port was congested. Nothing was happening. Today, with still one ministry, okay, we are doing 1.5 billion expansion of the port facilities, both in Tema and Takoradi. There is an Atuabo free port, which is already going on. We are also aware that with the same ministry, we currently are having one of the best trade facilitation in the world. With the destination inspection companies, Ghana was doing 200 valuation and classification a day. 200.
Just a day.
With the new single window that we are having, we are doing 500 a day. That's 150% improvement in less than 1 year.
Honorable, I hate to interrupt it when your submissions are very interesting and getting more interesting, but you can join in the discussion via our social media platforms on facebook.com/Joy News, and then on WhatsApp line is 0560 800,000 0560 800,000. Please don't call, just send us your message. We shall share them with the rest of the world. The discussion in the studio continues right after this break. Don't go away. Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Majority Caucus, and we are live on your Joy News channel on your multi-TV. We sincerely do apologize for those who could not receive a clear or proper signal wherever you are, we are working on it. We are working around the clock to make sure we restore proper signals to your various homes. We sincerely do apologize for that. The discussion in the studio continues. We are discussing job creation through agriculture with related ministries. So the discussion will not only be focused on Agric, but Agric will set the pace. And so thanks for staying with us once again. Honorable, you were on competence as a critical factor and determining, if you like, the veracity of a promise from a leader, whether or not you'll be able to do it. And I said, this is a view that I agree with you on, but it doesn't seem to be the view that the MPP shares. They seem to be throwing anything that appears to be populist.
Yes, you know, the MPP are very good at hiding their weaknesses.
Indeed.
And the best way to hide your weakness is to throw it to your opponent and let the opponent appear as such.
Okay.
Hoping that your opponent will agree and succumb. But the facts are abundant. I just mentioned that you have had a president who has used one ministry that was being run by 3 ministries under Kufo and under MPP to deliver phenomenal results. In the aviation sector, they had one ministry. But look at the work that is going on. In the ports and harbors, where they had a whole ministry and delivered nothing. One ministry is doing marvelously well there. In the transport sector itself, their main thing was rapid transit. Okay, and I can tell you that Metro Mass came as an afterthought. When these fuel price increases that they are complaining about became the only source of revenue to the NPP.
Okay.
And when fuel prices were increased to the roof and Ghanaians were complaining, Kufo said, I will provide high capacity buses so that you don't need to buy fuel about how many people can sit in one bus and go to wherever they are going. And that was why Metro Mass came. And when NDC came, Metro Mass was already gone. Recently, they started panicking when 200 buses were coming. After 116 of them came, Ajago started making some funny noises that 86 could not be accounted for. Knowing very well, sitting in Parliament, that the letters of credit for those 86 or 84 were being processed. With the view that when those 84 then finally arrived to make up the 200, they would have muddied the waters. That is the kind of NPP politics we are dealing with. It is for everything to go wrong for them to capitalize on. But you know John Mahama, very focused, very competent, and he's delivering. Vanef STC, you do remember Vanef STC?
I do.
They brought some Vanef wherever to tie up to STC. It died before Kufo left office. Today, go and see the retooling of the state transport operator. Go and see, they are no longer even doing just intercity, they are doing intracity transport. And all of these I've mentioned are being done with one ministry, the Ministry of Transport. Whereas under MPP, the most incompetent government that wasted the taxpayers' money on Ministry of Aviation, Ministry of Railway, Ports and Towers, and Ministry of Transport and delivered nothing, are turning around to tell His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who has delivered all these phenomenal results with limited resources for one ministry, as incompetent. Doesn't that suggest to you that they don't know what they are talking about?
Absolutely, it does.
Let me give you an example. Baumia always wants to take credit for what happened at the Bank of Ghana. Okay. He was just a deputy. Where is Dr. Paul Akwa? Where is Dr. Paul Akwa, who was the governor of the central bank?
Yes.
For 8 years, Baumia and his team struggled to achieve single-digit inflation. That is the most incompetent central banker if you compare to the record of NDC under our own vice president, Mr. Atta.
Now, serious.
Who masterminded the achievement of single-digit consistently for 3 years. And so if the best central governor should be a vice president, we already have one of the best who delivers single-digit inflation. Baumia failed woefully over 8 years. So how can Baumia now be saying that he's more competent than the NDC with Mr. Atta sitting there? But that is the MPP. They try to pretend to tell people the very things they cannot do. They must make Ghanaians believe that they are better at it. And so, Baumia, where is Dr. Paul Akwa, who helped you? And I'm not surprised. You see, if you have somebody who always want to jump the queue. If you make him a deputy, he wants to jump to become the boss, even when you are there. Okay. No wonder Akufo-Addo recently became an acting flag bearer. I mean, Bawumia became an acting flag bearer.
You mean Akufo-Addo was nowhere to be found?
Bawumia was the acting flag bearer, running everywhere and still is there. Akufo-Addo says, hey, then he woke up. Today we've seen him. And when he goes on a tour for 3 days, we don't hear him for another 2 weeks.
He will be in France or London.
France or London, whatever he's doing there, only God knows.
No idea.
But the action is here.
Okay.
And if he stays there for long, this man is too ambitious acting. This acting flag bearer will start again. And then you will run back. So there is no clear, consistent, coordinated effort with a vision. Okay. John Dramani Mahama has demonstrated today that having set all the economic fundamentals now ready to take off, and the World Bank, the African Development, and even the IMF admits that Ghana is on the trajectory of takeoff. And what are the economic indicators? Inflation is on a downward trajectory. It never arrived at even the highest and the MPP, and yet it is on a downward trajectory. Okay. The depreciation of the cedi, which last year was about 17.2% within the first half of the first quarter of the year, this time is less than even half a percentage depreciation. 0.4% depreciation in the first quarter.
That's very significant.
Is that not telling you something is happening? The fiscal deficit, which was around, in fact, in NPP's time, and that is one mistake that the NPP tried to push us, and we don't debate them. Go and read the budget deficit in the 2008 budget. What was the deficit? NPP left the highest deficit ever of 14%.
Honorable.
When we were doing 12%, they were complaining. Today we are looking at 6.7% deficit to GDP. And you see that they are now quiet.
Indeed, and it's unfortunate we've also run out of time. But Honorable, what we would do is to dedicate one of these shows, one of these days, to do content analysis in terms of budget allocations for all the sector ministries. And that I hope that when we call upon you, you would oblige us. But let me just read this text message quickly from Razak Salifu, who is in Kintampo. He said the government should keep reviving the Agric industry by way of renovating the collapsed industries. I agree with you, except that in circumstances where this will not be feasible, I think that the government has the right to make sure a new one is constructed. Thank you very much for joining us this evening on Majority Caucus. Inshallah, God willing, we'll be here next week. Till then, have a good night.